quel momento ho sposato il motore a 12 cilindri e non ho più divorziato.
So I just want to ask you some questions about the history of Shell and Ferrari and their partnership. So basically, where did it all begin? How did it all sort of start off? And who's responsible for starting that relationship?
You mean Mr. Ferrari himself? See, Ferrari has been the man in Italy who did invent the sponsors, better to say the partnership, with major companies working for the development of the automotive industry. And he has always started to create relationship to the number one in the different kind of field of activity. This is the reason for which he started working with Shell at the beginning, with Shell Italy in the 20s when he was racing with Alfa Romeo cars, and was at the same time also racing manager for Alfa Romeo. Then Ferrari did buy from Alfa Romeo the single-seater racing car at the end of the 20s when Alfa retired from racing. And in the 30s, Ferrari did race these Alfa Romeo cars under the name of Scuderia Ferrari, and Shell was on board again with them. Then the partnership was interrupted by the Second World War, and when Ferrari started building cars directly in 1947, the cars were lubricated and fueled by Shell.
Okay, that's great. And so back in the beginning, how did the relationship work, and how close is the relationship today?
How close today? Well, the relationship to Shell has been always very good, very, very good. And for that reason, Ferrari wrote in his memory book that without the technical support of Shell, he would have never been able to achieve the result he got. And this relationship did last until 1973, when the first oil crisis did happen, and Shell was obliged to rationalize its activity. And we started again in 1996. And since that, from that moment on, we started a new renaissance for us, because thanks to the product delivered by Shell, we had the possibility to have very reliable engines. And in fact, the reliability of the cars has been the principal factor for which from 96 so far, we have won 14 titles, 8 times the Constructor Championship and 6 times the Drivers' Championship.
So what has been the key to such a successful partnership between Shell and Ferrari?
Sorry?
What has been the actual key to such a successful partnership?
The key factor? I think that the key, we work very well together.
Yeah.
And we get, Shell is investing a lot of time with his scientists to improve continuously the fuel and the lubricants. And they work very closely with us, not only for racing but also for the Gran Turismo car. And in fact, all of the cars the Gran Turismo car leaving the factory are equipped with the Shell product.
Yeah. So how much help does Shell give to Ferrari to ensure that they are as competitive as possible throughout the entire season, and how much development?
But as far as I know, they invest more than 18,000 working hours a year to improve continuously the fuel and the lubricants. On top of that, they have given us the possibility to have at each race a mobile laboratory where 3 scientists of Shell are working during the racing weekend. During the racing weekend, they make about 20 analyses for the fuel in order to be sure that at any time the fuel is legal, complying with the FIA regulations. They also take about 20 samples of oil from the engines to check the metal part contained in the oil. According to our database, we know for sure which percentage of metal parts is representing normal wearing of the mechanical component. When this metal is in excess, we have been obliged and we have been informed by the Shell scientists, and we did change before the race the engine or the gearbox, thus giving the driver the possibility to see the checkered flag.
Okay. And how has technology defined your relationship with Ferrari?
Technology?
Yeah.
What do you mean now? Exactly?
So how things have developed over the years with.
But they have been able, together with Shell, we have been able, for example, for the Gran Turismo car to develop a direct fuel system. With the V-Power, I think that we did work very close together to improve this fuel, and because you have to understand something. We did consider the races as the way to test under the most severe circumstances all of the improvement that we bring to our product. And the experience obtained on the racing track, of course, is the immediate transfer to the product that we retail sell to our customers. And well, this fuel is containing, for example, what they call friction modification technology, which allows the engine to deliver a lot of power and responsiveness, and of course also reliability. And this technology is allowing the engine parts to work very smoothly, preventing then reduction in the power of the engine. That's all.
Okay. So what goals do Ferrari have for Shell's product development in F1 and their road cars? Would you know that at all?
Sorry?
So what goals do you have for your product development for F1 and road cars for the fuel?
In terms of fuel and in terms of all of the possible instances, it's very clear that we expect the maximum, because according to the FIA regulation, we are not allowed to make any modification to our engine until the end of next year. So any new horsepower must come from improvement in the fuel or in the lube.
So thank you ever so much.
Thanks.